Hey guys, Vegorax here. We're trying something new today with a little, we're calling it single player, where we have a game that one of us has played and is really feeling about that the others might not have been involved in. So today I'm going to be coming at you with Code of Princess from Atlas Games, released back in North America on October 9th of 2012. It's 1 to 4 players, depending on the mode you're dealing with. The primary mode being a sort of a side-scrolling, beat-em-up, hack-and-slash adventure game, with a few RPG elements thrown in for good measure, just because everything has RPG elements these days. It's literally a scroll to the left or right in a little arena, beating up a swarm of monsters as they try to Zerg rush you, for the most part, kind of game. It boasts 50 playable characters, but that's only in game modes where you have free play or bonus missions. In the actual campaign story mode, there's only 4 characters that you can choose from. There's also a free versus mode that you can play locally or online against up to 4 people can play. Just have this big free-for-all, and it becomes kind of like a fighting game there. It uses that weird 3-rail system that was really popular towards the end of the 2000s, the beginning of the tweens, where you've got the foreground, the background, and the midground, and you switch between the rails rather than having free range in a sort of a faux 3D kind of setting. In terms of style and design, a lot of folks have noticed that there's some similarities between Code of Princess and an old Sega Saturn game from '96 called the Guardian Heroes. That's because the director and the lead character designer is the same for both games, as well as the lead programmer. The controls for this game are pretty solid and very responsive. There's an illusion that it kind of lags a bit, but that usually just means that the speed rating on your character hasn't been leveled up appropriately. That goes away and clears up just fine if you sink a few points at level up into your agility rating. Or never happens at all if you pick Ali as your primary character, because speed is her primary stat and she doesn't have that issue. That said, the controls are kind of limited. They're responsive, they're solid, but every character has a fast attack, a strong attack, and some various special attacks depending on the position of the joystick and whatever other button you're hitting. This at first presents a lot of customization for each of these characters, a lot of different ways for them to do attacks that are specific to them, and gives each of them a distinctive style of play. And it works really great for short, spurty sessions, but if you're going to be a long, grindy session, which you sometimes need because of the RPG elements, and you'll sometimes hit a wall where you're just not a high enough level to get through the swarms of enemies that are coming at you, or not get wrecked by the latest boss, it turns into a sort of a button-mashing slog after a while, so that's usually when you need to sit down and take a break. It's kind of a pretty game for what it is. It was originally released on the 3DS and later released on Windows. You can get it on Steam right now. And on the 3DS, because of the size of the screen, you can see that they're going for this big, open-worldly, epic feel, and it looks all mashed and a little bit pixelated because the system's just too small to do it. Conversely, if you get on Windows and on Steam, all of that's cleared up. It goes away, and it looks gorgeous. It's fun. It's got this nice little anime feel. There are fully animated cutscenes periodically at key points in the story. So, it kind of works. The storytelling is very basic. It follows a set pattern. There's a set piece where the characters are all talking to each other. Then the action stage actually happens. You play through that. And then you'll find quite often a follow-up set piece where a few more of the characters are talking to each other based on what's relevant and what's going on in the story at that point in time. There's really only one major decision that's left in the hands of the players toward the end of the game, whether or not you're going to smash the magic stone or not. The rest of the game, you're just kind of along for the ride and clearing the levels as they go. That said, it's a very simple story, but it's still engaging. You'll still get involved, mostly because the characters are given such depth. The North American version is fully voice acted, and you'll spend a lot of time going, hey, I know that voice from somewhere, generally Bethesda. There are a few plots, twists, and turns in the story. They tend to be very predictable if you're at all gamer savvy or you've watched an anime in the last 20 years, but that doesn't mean they're not still enjoyable just because you see it coming. The characters are very engaging. There's a certain depth to them presented by the way the voice acting happens. One of the interesting points of the way the story is told is, as I mentioned, there are 4 playable characters, Solange, Ali, Zozo, and Allegro for the main story mode. And when you select each one of them, the story is told a little bit differently because it's from each of their perspectives, which often winds up with you having to play the same level over several times as far as the combat part, because that doesn't change, just the narration and the order of events based on their perspectives. Which gets a little bit grindy, but if you decide that you like one of the different characters and different play styles, worth it to get them leveled up and caught up. Lastly, we have the sound of the game. It's difficult because it's a fully orchestrated piece. Especially a lot of the music you'll find out there has been revamped and redubbed and brushed up a bit. The acoustic capacities of the 3DS didn't do it justice. It sounds gorgeous when you get on Steam and when you get on the computer and so on. But that's a lot of these big, sweeping, epic pieces that really get lost in the background. You're not going to be humming any of these songs, 10 years from now. But they get the job done, and they're very, very pretty to listen to on their own. I don't think anybody's going to be rushing out to buy the album for this, but that doesn't make the music bad, just not particularly memorable. Circling back around to the story for a second, the basic plot is that you are controlling initially the titular princess, and that is a pun, very much intended, Solange, from the kingdom of Deluxia. And what's happened here is that monsters suddenly attack Deluxia, and they just overwhelm the guards, and they absolutely wreck the castle, and Solange's entire family is slaughtered, and she's left for dead under a pile of rubble until the thief Ali, who's busy looting in all the chaos, discovers her and rescues her. And this army from this neighboring kingdom of Distron rushes in to save the day and put down all the monsters. And they're everybody's hero, except something's not quite right. They start spreading these rumors and accusations that the Deluxia royal family were the ones that actually were dealing with and summoned the monsters, and they lost control, and that's why everybody in their kingdom has been mercilessly slaughtered and all that, and had Distron not been there to save the day. But at the same time, as Solange is traveling around to small towns trying to find out what the hell just happened, and clear her family's name, we're finding that the Distron army isn't a whole lot better than the monsters themselves. They're very greedy and rapacious and are extorting the villagers for their protection services. So it's this big, dark, who's really the good guy here? Is anybody in this entire setting, aside from Solange herself, genuinely a decent person? There's some moral stuff attached to it. And as I said, if you're at all genre savvy, you've probably already put together that Distron were the ones who sent the monsters. And that's not a huge spoiler, because you figure that out in Chapter 3. I can't really think much more to say about the game. That's, the sum of it. Go play it. Oh, the big announcement. This game was a cult classic when it came out. Not a lot of people saw it or heard of it, even though you'll find plenty of figures of Solange everywhere. She's made it into... You may have seen we put up another advertisement for a game called Blade Strangers that's going to be coming out shortly here. But Coda Princess itself, as a complete game, is getting a remastering deal completely done for Coda Princess EX, which is going to be available on the Nintendo Switch starting on July 31st of 2018. And it adds a few things. They've upgraded the point build system for leveling up to make it a little more intuitive. And they've added a local co-op play for the story mode, which was not available in the original 3DS and Windows Steam version. So that's something to look forward to. I've seen a few still shots of it. We'll put some up here in a second. They are gorgeous. They look even better than the originals. The sound is polished and beautiful, and I'm absolutely looking forward to sitting down on the couch and picking up Solange's blade, the Deluxe Excalibur, and just beating Spoonie to death with it. Good night and good gaming. Hey guys, it's Vegorax here. If you like what you just saw, go ahead and give us a little thumbs up down below. If you really liked it, leave us a comment. We love feedback. And if you really liked it, click that little bell over in the corner and subscribe so you can hear everything that we have to say and do. Also, you can keep up with us on Facebook, link in the description below.